Welcome back to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to our latest episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to wrap up Season 2 here, and then we will also be talking about the NFL Draft. We'll be talking about some of the UDFAs that the Vikings signed, and then we'll finish off with an early season record prediction by going over the Minnesota Vikings schedule here on schedule release night. It's dropping right now at 7 p.m. Central Time. So, Big D, we'll see what that schedule looks like in a little bit. Insane, Big D. Big D, welcome back to the episode. Yeah, thanks for joining me today. So, moving forward, Big D is going to be my co-host moving forward for next season, Season 3. And stay tuned. We have a lot of cool things coming up. We're going to take the rest of the month of May, June, and July off for the summer. And then right before training camp's about to kick off in early August there, we will come back and start doing episodes for Season 3 with the Vikings schedule coming up, or with the football season coming up with the college and the NFL as well. So, but before we get into that topic, DC, just want to talk about a couple Minnesota sports. You know, we're going to go forward with just strictly saying the Minnesota Vikings and the NFL Draft on this podcast. So that's going to be a little change where before we're doing some Minnesota sports. But I just wanted to mention a couple things. The Minnesota Timberwolves are one game away from clinching the Western Conference Finals again, which is super exciting. They have one more game to win here versus Golden State, and hopefully they'll make their punch their ticket to the Western Conference Final for the second year in a row. And hopefully this year we can get over that point and make it to the NBA Finals. So, and then moving into the Minnesota Twins after their slow start are on a heater now. They've won 10 games in a row and have moved up. I think they're 3 games above 500 right now, 23 and 20 or something like that. Somewhere around that. But they've
20. Yeah, they're either 22 and 20 or 23 and 20.
Yeah, so they just won their 10th game tonight, or not 10th game tonight, but 10th game in a row tonight. And I think that's moving them to 23 and 20 now. And actually kind of crazy. If the playoffs ended today, obviously it's way too early for that, but every single AL Central team besides, I think, the White Sox would be in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're 23 and 20 right now.
Yeah, so 3 games above high 500, and they climbed themselves out of that hole that they put themselves in early. So, yeah, schedule's releasing here right now. It's showing opening game, Big D, of the NFL season, the Cowboys at the Eagles on September 4th, Thursday. September 4th at 7:20 Eastern Time on NBC. The Cowboys at the Eagles to kick off the NFL season this coming year.
Oof.
So that'll be a fun game to kick off the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have my NFL Network on right now, just glancing over here when I'm seeing things come up. So, but yeah, Thanksgiving is showing. We have the Packers at Lions, Chiefs at Cowboys, and Bengals at Ravens. Those are some good matchups too, so that'll be fun for sure. So,
oh yeah.
But okay, let's move into the draft, and then we'll go strictly to the Vikings. Let's get back on topic here. My bad. But yeah, so keep going with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Twins, and yeah, it's exciting times right now to be a Minnesota sports fan. So hopefully they keep it going up for us. So, all right, so moving into the NFL Draft, the Vikings took Donovan Jackson, as we all should know by now, guard out of Ohio State. I like that pick a lot. At the time, I was thinking maybe they'd trade back, and at the time, people were like, they could have probably traded back and picked up some more picks and still acquired him. But actually, the Houston Texans were dialed in, and they wanted to take him at 25, and actually that's why they moved back out of the first round when he took there at 24 by us. So I like this pick a lot. Jackson's he has that position flexibility to slide out to tackle if needed. He did do that for Ohio State last year when Josh Simmons went down for them, and he played at a high level. His first game he had to go up was Buell Carter, who was a number 3 pick here in the NFL draft for the Giants. So, and he handled himself very well versus him too. So I like that pick. I think it helps solidify the interior of the offensive line, which was my number one thing for the offseason for the Vikings moving into the 2025-2026 football season. So, Big D, what did you think of the Jackson pick?
I really like the pick. Like a lot of people were not really big fan of that pick, but I think we finally completed our trenches for us offense and defense side of the ball because we do have to protect JJ McCartney stuff. So I think he was the last piece of the puzzle, and I think it was a heck of a pick for picking them.
For sure, I like it. I like it. Yeah, protecting McCarthy is a big thing, and he's our quarterback going forward. So I'm excited about that too. Moving on to our third round pick. We didn't have a pick in the second round. In our third round pick, we picked a Ty Felton, wide receiver out of Maryland. I like this pick. You know, one thing I said right away, watching Felton, is he is an absolute spurner, but he can do more than that. You know, he's a pretty decent, a pretty well polished route runner as well at Maryland. And you look at his stats too. He's put up some nice statistics there for Maryland in the Big Ten, and you know, he's a 4.37 guy in the 40-yard dash. And I think, you know, he's going to push I don't know if he's going to push to be wide receiver number 3 right away, as we have Jalen Naylor and Rondale Moore, depending on injury with him. You know, he can never stay healthy, unfortunately. But, you know, I think Felton could turn into a really nice wide receiver 3 at some point as he continues to develop his craft. So I was excited about that pick. And I thought maybe at the time we could go D back. I think we were kind of going after Xavier Watts, but then when he was picked, that's why we ended up trading back in the third round, and then we got Felton. So yeah, you know, I'm excited to see. Another thing too is Jordan Addison pending suspension next year. He could miss in first 2 to 3 games of the season too, so that adds a little depth in the wide receiver room on top of what we already have. What did you think of that pick?
Yeah, I really like that pick too, and like you nailed on the coffin. He could try to go for that wide receiver 3, but it'll be kind of tough with Jalen Naylor. But yeah, I really like that pick, and he's a solid player, fast, and we can probably use him for different formations, all that stuff. But I think he's gonna fit good with that offensive scheme we have going on over there.
Yeah, definitely. Moving into the fifth round, we took Tyron Ingram Dawkins, defensive lineman out of Georgia. You know, he's coming out of Georgia, SEC football. You know, the Georgia Dogs have tremendous players coming out of there. Unfortunately, Lucine came out of Georgia, but he didn't work out for us. But yeah, I like Dawkins. You know, I think he's a good developmental piece for us. You know, at the time, I was thinking, well, he's kind of playing on the edge a lot at Georgia, but I could definitely see him slide into the interior of the defensive line, maybe 3 tech position during passing downs. And you know, I thought it was a nice pick, developmental pick for him. But he's got some nice tools and nice skill set. So I'm excited to see what we could do to develop his craft more. And you know, just put him right there with Jonathan Allen, Hargrave, Harrison Phillips in the middle. You know, I think that's a nice depth piece to have there, Dawkins, as well as developing. Maybe he can turn into a guy that can step in when Jonathan Allen and Hargrave are no longer on the roster. So, yeah, good pick.
Yeah, I think that was a solid pick too.
What do you think on that one?
Yeah, like I said, you nailed the coffin. He could be sitting right behind them. Like you said, those Georgia boys, they know how to play some football like that. So I'm excited to see what he can do in the rookie camp, OTAs, training camp, and then the season. So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, for sure. So we move into the 6th round. We took Kobe King, linebacker to Penn State. You Kobe King has some nice skill set too. I think he's still, we get to rounds 5 and 6. Usually these guys are most developmental guys. I think Kobe King can come in there and, potentially be like linebacker 4. And, we did sign Eric Wilson. We brought him back. I think, I like Eric Wilson in the defensive scheme that we have. Obviously, Pace and Cashman are the two interior linebackers going forward. I think Kobe King could provide some help on special teams right away as long as he makes the roster. So, nice pick. And yeah, then we move into round or the next pick actually in round 6 at 202. We took Gavin Bartholomew, tight end out of Pittsburgh. I didn't really know too much about Bartholomew myself. I thought maybe there's some different tight ends there that we could have taken instead. I was like Lacey out of Iowa was still on the board, and I thought he would be a nice fit. But the more I watched Bartholomew, he's a pretty athletic tight end. We did need a tight end 3, kind of the guy to fit into that Johnny Munt role when he left. And maybe he can develop into that tight end 3 for us. And he does provide some nice athleticism and has some decent blocking skill too. So at first, I was a little skeptical at that one. I was hoping maybe we'd take a running back and dive into that running back class that we ended up passing on in the draft. But we did add a couple guys in UDFAs or as UDFAs. So, yeah, what did you think of both those picks with Kobe King and then Gavin Bartholomew there in round 6?
I was actually pretty shocked about this because I thought we were going to go secondary in one of those rounds, but I don't know much about both those guys, but I think King he'd be good for like a linebacker 4 and then the tight end or whatever. So I think it was pretty solid, good picks for us.
Yeah, for sure. I was a little shocked that we didn't end up going DB at all in the draft, but we did end up taking a couple or ended up picking up a couple nice undrafted guys that we can get into a little bit here. So we'll move into that. Actually, before we move on, what was your surprise of the draft? For me, it was Shedeur Sanders not even being a day 2 pick. That was pretty surprising for me.
Yeah, that's probably the same here. That or just the other quarterbacks getting picked before him, all that stuff. So
Right?
I was really
Exactly.
shocked that Sador. I think everybody was shocked about that.
Yeah, you can't. He was like the 5th or 6th quarterback taken,
Yeah.
and he's not the 5th or 6th best quarterback in this draft. So,
No, I just don't know what Cleveland's doing over there, drafting 2 quarterbacks.
hmm
I just
yeah, it was interesting.
that's very interesting, and I think it's kind of funny. But
Yeah, it kind of makes you think like were they like told by their owner like, "Hey, take him, pick him," But they seemed pretty excited when they drafted him. I watched the
yeah,
draft
like
call and all that. So,
we're like I'm not I'm not like I don't care about the Browns or anything like that. Where you got the Giants that have 4 quarterbacks and like they have a veteran quarterback Russell Wilson and you got Jackson Dart and all that stuff. So it just it's very interesting to see those kind of calibers like that. But
yeah, for
who
sure.
cares about those teams? All we care about is the Vikes.
Yeah, so getting back to the Vikings here, I'm not going to go into too much depth on these guys, but let's talk just some key names to look out for that we signed as UDFAs. So, first one that comes to my list is Tyler Beatty, outside linebacker, be edge rusher, be 6'6", 271 out of BYU. He could be a guy to watch for that could push to potentially make this football team, if not for sure the practice squad. Honestly, though, if I think he went to the practice squad, he'd probably get picked up by another team and be on a 53-man roster. And that's the point. Like we have pretty good depth on the edge right now. So another guy, Silas Bolden, wide receiver of Texas. He's not strictly, but he's more known for returner, a punt returner and kick returner. We could watch out for him to potentially push to be the punter or the punt returner and kick returner next season. Um, if he wants to make the team, that's how he's going to make the team. Max Brosmer, quarterback out of Minnesota. I thought that was a pretty good signing. A little project for Kevin O'Connell. Do I think he's going to make the 53-man roster? Probably not. I probably will be a practice squad candidate, guy like that to develop. Maybe he pushes to be quarterback number 3 behind Rippon, but we'll see what happens with that. So, then moving into, let's see here, trying to go down my list. This cornerback out of Kansas State, Keenan Garber, his name is. It's a name to watch out for in the off season here in the training camp. So I think could be a guy that potentially push for a roster spot. So those are kind of my notables, that we went out and signed for the UDFAs, and yeah, it'll be exciting to see which one of these guys make it, which one of these players make it, and we'll see what happens. So before we move into the schedule release, just want to bring up one more thing. Andrew Van Ginkel ended up signing a 2-year extension. So after this season, he was going to be a free agent. So it's nice to get him signed for a couple more seasons after this year.
Yeah, I was pretty stoked about that signing there.
For sure. All right, Big D. We're getting into it now, all right?
All right.
So here's the regular season, all right? And as we go through the regular season, we're going to give our prediction right now if we think we're going to win or lose that game.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
All right. So I'm just going to write this on a notepad here and tally wins and losses, so it could be easy to count them up real quick as we go. So, all right. Week 1, the regular season. The Minnesota Vikings are facing on Monday, September 8th, Monday night game, primetime. J.J. McCarthy's first start in the NFL versus the Chicago Bears.
Really?
Game 1.
Holy moly.
I wish we were live doing this. You're awesome. So Chicago Bears game 1, DC, and the Packers are playing the Lions game 1. So we have those NFC North battles right away, week 1. What's your prediction for week 1 for the Vikes? I'm gonna say that we're gonna go in there and we're gonna win this one, man. I'm gonna say we're winning this one right off the get go. All right. So you got them win 2? Sounds good.
Yep.
Ready? Week 2. We are facing off on Sunday, September 14th, 7:20 p.m. Central Time. So another night game, Sunday Night Football, at home versus the Atlanta Falcons.
What?
We got Atlanta week 2 at home. Yep, Sunday Night Football.
I'm gonna go 2-0.
Heck yeah, I'm doing 2-0 too. Let's go. I don't see a loss on this schedule so far.
2 primetime games. Holy.
Yep. Week 3, we're not in prime time. We're a noon game, September 21st. On a Sunday, we're home versus the Cincinnati Bengals, Big D. Jamar Chase versus Justin Jefferson. Joe Burrow versus J.J. McCarthy. Let's go. What do you think on this one?
We're going to start the season 3-0.
Let's go. I'm going with you. We're 3-0. All right, here we go. Now, this is going to be interesting here, okay, these next few weeks. But the Minnesota Vikings on week 4 are making their way over to Dublin, Ireland to play on Sunday, September 28th at 8:30 in the morning versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin, Ireland.
4-0.
4-0. Let's go. I'm doing the same thing. 4-0. All right. Week 5, we are staying overseas, DC.
What?
We're not even coming back to the United States. We liked it so much, we're just going to stay over there for another week. Week 5, Sunday, October 5th, 8:30 again in the morning. We're playing the Cleveland Browns. It's 5-0, right?
5-0.
5-0. Let's go.
Who's going to be their starting quarterback?
Week 6, they threw a bye in there for us, so we're going to come back from beat over over the pond for 2 weeks, and we get a bye week 6. Okay, coming off the bye in week 7, Sunday, October 19th at 12 p.m., we're home versus the Philadelphia Eagles, Big D. Okay, for myself, this is gonna be my first loss of the year right here.
Yeah, I
So,
want to go.
Big D, you gonna go for
Yeah,
it? We're going for the win.
I want to go for the win. Yes,
All right, Big D, let's go. You're gonna be like Nick
we're gonna
Swartzen
beat.
on Rich Eisen show. He's like, win. Next week, win. Next week, win. So funny. Just keep saying win, win, or win over. But if you go back and look at it, he was
Yeah,
pretty accurate actually with how the regular season went last year for the most part.
yeah,
So,
he was.
all right, week 8, Thursday night football, October 23rd, 7:15 Central Time, DC. We're going to LA to face the Chargers.
I think that's gonna be our first loss.
Okay, so you're doing our first loss
Yep.
there. All right. I'm going that we're getting a win. So we're going to be 6-1. We both have them at 6-1 right now through week 8. All right, here we go. So we got our next week, week 9, Sunday, November 2nd at 12 p.m. Central Time. We are going on the road to Detroit, Michigan, to face the Lions to get our revenge. I'm going to say that we are going to, Lions lost both their coordinators. I'm really curious to see how that offense looks without Ben Johnson and that defense looks without Aaron Glenn. It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to have us take I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on this one, but I have us take a loss there in Detroit.
Yeah, I think we're.
So I have us at 6-2 right now through
Yeah,
week 9.
yeah, I'm gonna go loss too.
Okay. Oh man, this next one. This will be a good one. All right, week 10, Sunday, November 9th at 12 p.m. The Vikings are at home versus an AFC North team whose running back was just extended today. The Baltimore Ravens. This is a tough stretch right there. The Eagles, the Chargers, the Lions, and the Ravens. You know, I think we'll probably be pretty good versus the Chargers, but the Lions, Eagles, and Ravens, some good matchups there, man. I'm gonna say we're gonna bounce back.
Battle over the purple.
Yep, I'm gonna say we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna beat the Ravens. This one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna beat the Ravens too.
All right, so you have them at 7-2. I have them at 7-2. Okay. Now we're going to week 11. Sunday, November 16th at 12 p.m. The Vikings are facing, at home, the Chicago Bears.
We're gonna sweep the Bears.
You gonna say we're gonna sweep the Bears?
Yeah, it's gonna be a close game.
I'm doing the same thing. So we have us 8-2 through week 11 right now. All right. Week 12 on Sunday, November 23rd at 12 p.m. The Minnesota Vikings are going on the road to shred some cheese versus the Green Bay Packers.
You already know it. You better just put an L in that win column.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to go for a dub 2 versus the Packers. All right, week 13, Vikings on Sunday, November 30th at 3:05 Central Time are going to go out, which we just played them last year there too, the Seattle Seahawks.
That's weird.
We're going back on the road for Seattle again for 2 years in a row.
That's so weird.
You know what? Versus Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Just thought of that. I'm gonna say we're gonna go after Sammy D there from the interior, and
Yeah.
we're gonna make him uncomfortable. I'm gonna say a win for week 13. Is that what you're saying too?
Yep.
All right. So we both have the Vikes 10-2 right now, man. All right, moving into week 14. Sunday, December 7th at 12 p.m. We are going to be at home versus Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders.
Oh,
This will be a fun game. JJ McCarthy versus Jaden Daniels. As of right now, that'll be a really fun game.
yeah,
I'm going to say that we're going to drop this one.
yeah,
I think the Washington Commanders are pretty dang good this year.
yeah.
But, I
Well,
mean, they were good last year, too. I think they're
yeah.
going to be
Well,
better.
I think they're gonna drop it.
All right, so we both have them going 10-3 through week 14. All right, we're moving into week 15 now, and we are going to be playing on Sunday Night Football on Sunday, December 14th, versus the Dallas Cowboys at Dallas. I'm going to say we're going to beat Dallas.
Yeah,
It seems like we've
yeah,
struggled versus Dallas on primetime games, but
yeah. Because last time we played Dallas prime time, they smoked us.
yeah, they did. That was an embarrassment. That was a tough game.
I think it was
Like 2 to 3
I
years
think it was
ago.
like
Oh
41-14 or
gosh, that
something
game
like
was
that.
so yeah, that game was
Yeah,
awful. Was that the year? Was that KLC's first year? And then
yeah,
yeah, it had to be KLC's first year because we were
yeah,
like on that roll, and then we just got smoked by them. They didn't show up.
yeah. Michael Parson had a heyday against us.
Yeah, for sure. And Lawrence too, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, moving into week 16. We're going on the road on Sunday, December 21st at 12 p.m. Big D, you better have your Christmas present to me by then. We'll be playing the New York Giants on the road. I'm going to say a dub on this one.
that's a dub.
Yeah. 12-3. All right, Big D, here we go, man. This is the one you might have saw. You said you did see this one probably. So, but week 17 on Thursday, December 25th. Coming to you from Netflix, Christmas Day, we have the Minnesota Vikings at home versus the Detroit Lions.
Yep, I definitely saw that one.
This one's gonna be a good one, man. I think, oh man,
I
it could go down to like last year where it comes down to these last couple games for whoever gets the
yeah,
division. So I had them losing the Vikes or to the Lions earlier in this. I'm gonna say we get our revenge and we split with them this year. They swept us like what the last 2 years now. We're 0-4 versus them.
yeah,
So I think we're gonna get them this one.
yeah,
You think so too?
yeah. Hopefully you can watch if Netflix stream doesn't go down.
Oh gosh, I hope not. They did some streams last year on Christmas and they weren't too bad actually. So I'm hopeful for this one. So we have the Vikes going 13-3 through week 16 or week 17, excuse me, with one game left. Big D, you ready for it? Week 18 to be
Yeah, it was the
determined.
Packers.
Yep, you put it together. Good memory. There you go, DC. Versus the Green Bay Packers. You said it. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, I think we're gonna sweep the Packers.
All right, you're gonna say a win. I'm gonna say a loss. Okay, here we go. So Big D has the Vikes going 14-3.
Yep.
I have them going 13-4. Okay, there it is.
Yep.
So at this, like, we should be in the playoffs again based on those records, right? Eventually division. Hey, last year, like, I give it to you, man. Like, I had them missing the playoffs. I had them like 10-7. You're pretty close with your record actually last year. I think you had them around what they were about. So, good job.
Yeah, I think I picked like 13-4 last year.
Yeah, somewhere around that. Yep. What did we end up doing?
Yeah.
14-3? Can't think of my off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you
14-3,
were
yeah.
close. Well, what do you think? Like, what games are you excited about the most, do you think?
Well, I'm excited for the Baltimore game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the Bengals. Two best friends going at it. Um, I'm excited for the Atlanta game because two of my favorite teams, but
Yeah,
always gonna go for the Vikes no matter what. I'm excited for this whole season really, and
yeah, for sure.
I think we have a better team than last year. So I think we're gonna be doing very well.
We have a tough schedule, man. I would be curious to see what we are for strength of schedule this year. We have to be in the top 10. You got to think that. Like, got to think that. So,
So who do you think your downfall? What do you think would be your most downfall team for the year?
like, what team do I think is going to, like, or is going to regress this season?
Yeah,
Man, that's a really good question. Um, like, based on maybe, say, like, from who were playoff teams last year,
yeah.
I'm going to have to look up the whole bracket to see what all the teams were in the playoffs last year again. So hold on a second. Um, let's see. So we had the Texans, Chargers, Ravens, Steelers, Bills, Broncos, Lions, Rams, Vikes, Bucks, Commanders, Eagles, Packers. Man, that's Chiefs, Bills. Oh, I already said the Bills, but Chiefs and yeah. Um, that's tough because I feel like all these teams are probably going to be pretty dang competitive again. I don't see why none of these teams would be competitive, you know,
Hmm.
the barring injury. I think like barring a major injury for any of these teams, right,
Hmm.
is gonna like say if any other quarterbacks go out, like that could affect what ends up happening.
Hmm.
If I just had to pick right now, I would probably have to say the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC just because they don't really have their quarterback yet. I mean, they rumored to have Aaron Rodgers, but he still hasn't signed there. And I was like kind of a little bit like on the not I would say the fan club, but I wouldn't have been super mad about it if we did bring him to Minnesota, at the time.
Hmm.
But also again, like besides the end of the year, he hasn't been playing as steady football as he once was. So he's different. So even
Yeah.
without Rodgers, I still don't think that makes the Steelers like a whole lot better. They'll have a pretty solid defense again, I think. The thing of Mike Tomlin, he's never had a record of below 500.
Yeah.
So he's a good coach, But if I just had to pick right
Yeah.
now, I'd probably say the Steelers in the AFC. NFC, I'm gonna say, man, that's a tough one because all these teams pretty dang good. Maybe the Rams, depending on some things. Some things, if Matthew Stafford gets hurt or something like that, I could see them potentially fall off a little bit. Their defensive line should be pretty good. They have a pretty young defensive line still. But yeah, I'd probably say my picks would be definitely the Steelers and the Rams. How about yourself? What do you think?
Yeah. 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 I was gonna pick the exact same thing: Steelers and the Rams.
Yeah, it's just hard. I can definitely see those teams making the playoffs. But the thing is, this is going to change. There's going to be teams that come out of nowhere that are not expected to be as good as they are now. There's going to be teams that are expected to be really good who are going to fall flat on their face.
Hmm.
Hopefully that's not us. Hopefully JJ McCarthy is a guy. We still have to see that out of him. He still has to
Yeah.
play in a regular season NFL football game. From what I hear, from what I see with his interviews, other people talking about him,
Hmm.
I feel like we do have the right kid there, but he's got to develop still. Still in that boat of seeing more development out of him. He's got the smarts. He's got the positive attitude and the way he attacks it.
Hmm.
I saw a video of Harrison Phillips. He was talking about you know, JJ McCarthy when he got hurt there at he said Sunday, so I thought it was during the preseason game, but it sounded like it might happen in practice actually. And he was saying that they told him to to go away for the team for like a week or so,
Mm-hmm.
just take some mental space. And he stuck around, and he said it's the same day, maybe a couple days later, he asked Harrison Phillips to meet with him because he wanted to watch game film with him just to talk and pick his brain about what he thinks as a defensive lineman in certain things. So like you hear that, like this kid's all football, and I think that's what separates him is that the studying and having that game, watching all the game film and putting in that extra work like that. So I think that's going to make him a special quarterback. And,
Yeah.
I think he has the physical traits. He still got to develop into it more, but I'm excited to see what JJ McCarthy does this season. And I'm a believer that he's going to do really, really well.
Yeah, I have so much hopes for him and everything. I don't think he's going to like have like spectacular numbers his first season as a quarterback. But I think he's going to have pretty average. So he's going to have the protection. He has the weapons on the offense side of the ball. Pretty much the whole offense is loaded for him, and you cannot get a better offense than what he has. Everything. So I am I'm excited to see what he can do in like OTA, training camps, and preseason. So and then get to the regular season. Yeah, I'm very stoked for oncoming season with JJ and see what he does.
Yeah, definitely. And, the thing is, like, they went out and put him in a heck of a situation to be in. Like, you think and look at the roster, hold the offensive line, the tight end room, the running back room, Jordan Mason, uh, getting traded here, who's a very, very good running back. He's going to be a nice punch with Aaron Jones, a wide receiver room. Like, they are putting him in one of the best possible situations that I can think of ever for a quarterback coming into his first year, technically, So I'm excited about that. And also, he's got KOC as a head coach. He has Josh McCown there, quarterback coach too. So I think he has a lot of great role models there for him and great coaches to help him develop. And he just seems like one of those kids that he knows he's going to make the mistakes and he's going to keep putting in the work to try to fix those mistakes. So he's got a really good head on his shoulders and seems like a really tremendous leader for that for the young age he is. So that's exciting to see.
And you need that in a quarterback now and stuff because he wants to win like that. He hates losing. He wants to win, win, win.
For sure. Definitely. Definitely. One more thing I forgot to mention too is during the draft on day 3 we traded for Sam Howell. That was a nice get for us. My whole time I was like, who the heck's gonna be your backup quarterback? You see these guys signing like Joe Flacco, etc. Sam Howell, he's not going to be the like starter. Some people were like, oh, like is he gonna like have a quarterback battle with JJ? I think no. JJ is a guy, and Sam Howell will be the backup. But he's a young kid. He's only like 26, I want to say, around that, like mid 20s. So yeah, he's a nice backup for us to get. So I was excited about that. I think a lot better option than Brett Ripon. Well, yeah, DC. I think we're coming to the point now. It's gonna wrap up the episode, and like I said before, we're gonna take the summer off here. Summer just gets busy. If there's something major that happens around the Vikings, we'll probably hop on and talk about that. But for the most part, we'll just enjoy our summer and recoup and be ready for the long haul for the regular season coming up in the NFL draft or college football leading into the NFL draft. So we're going to do a lot more draft talk on here to talk about prospects. I'm going to actually start making a summer board with players based on positions. So I think that'll be fun to do that as a little project. And yeah, so like I said, we'll be back here in maybe late July, early August when training camp's going to be kicking off, do a little season preview, talk about, who we think is going to make the 53-man roster, may talk about the college football season that'll be coming up. Maybe some predictions of what we think is going to happen in the college football season with potential champions, and talk about some NFL prospects. So, DC, do you have anything you'd like to say before we cut it off?
No, I don't. I just hope everybody enjoys this beautiful weather we have here, and you guys enjoy your summer. And we cannot wait for football to start here.
Definitely, definitely. All right, you heard it. So we'll see you next time.
Let's
Go
go,
Vikes.
Vikes.
Straight cash homie. Thank you for listening to our episode. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram and X at Naptime Sports Talk Podcast for content related to the pod. Thank you for the support.